to see this play out, it made it real, really real to me.
Real.
I was at, we had a play date with our kids and at the park. And there were two ladies there at the park. And what was interesting, it like immediately talk about current issues, the race thing going on. One was black, one was Hispanic. And here I am, probably the whitest of white privilege dudes there at the park. And what was interesting to me is I just observed the conversation unfolding because it went straight to what's going on today and how the language that was used was, I don't have time for X people or X person, right? In my life, right?
Yeah.
I don't have time for And what was interesting, now these conversations went on for about an hour with the three and then another hour with just two more people, right? The conversations went on and I'm sitting there and I'm observing because I'm still in the process of like gathering my thoughts on the whole thing. And so I started asking questions. And it became very apparent after reflecting on the entire interaction. 2 hours of this, Dave, 2 hours, not one question was asked of the parties. They didn't ask each other a question. They didn't ask me a question. No questions were levied. All they were issuing, the entire dialogue was a statement. They would make statements and respond to each other's statements. And it just dawned on me. I started thinking back to other interactions that I've had with people about very similar things. How little questioning there is. Nobody's asking questions about anything. Everybody just levies a statement. You respond to the statement. You're expected to respond to the statement. And in the measure that you agree with the statement that somebody is making, that is your level of connection or communion with that person in that conversation. And that's where that parallel monologues just made so much sense because that seems like that's all we do these days.
I'll tell you what, that is a way different vision of parallel monologue than what I actually was assuming. I think you and I talked about this before where I have a friend and I communicate with this person quite a bit.
Yeah.
And he made a comment that, a lot of times we're just talking past each other.
Yeah.
And I kind of looked at, so we have opposing viewpoints and he's going to talk past me and then I have opposing viewpoints to him and I talk past him.
Yeah.
But what you're discussing is different. It's similar viewpoints, just continuing to layer statements on top of statements.
Yeah.
Which actually, see, to me, that sounds like that could just be more insightful. Like not insightful.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think you're right. What was interesting about it is because these statements are levied, and it's levied as like, this is obviously my truth. This is what's true for me, and which is fine. That's fine. But it's not open to any level of deeper questioning and
that's
thinking,
bad.
Which makes a complete closure to any level of discussion of any ideas or anything like that. And it's just in the measure that you don't agree with that statement, it's an opportunity for somebody to cancel you out. Well, I don't have time for you. I don't have time for you if you don't think the way I think. And what was interesting about it was the topic of discussion, obviously, naturally lent itself to understanding that people have, people make statements about this all the time, but they don't, it's like it doesn't process. The statements of, well, somebody grew up with a specific bias, or somebody maybe was raised in a family that believed that. And rather than have the opinion of, you know what, I think it's an opportunity to potentially shift the conversation. It's just, well, they don't agree with me right now. Screw it. It's not even worth my time, right? It's just like, you need to go figure yourself out and then I'll talk to you,
Yeah, but that's so disrespectful of each individual's experience. To have that kind of an approach, to say, I'm just not going to talk to you because I don't have time for XYZ type of mentality, that actually, I think that directly speaks to exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't want to converse with someone who has a different point of view from me. And all that leads to is tribalism. That leads to, gosh, you're not challenging yourself at all. You're not going to grow if you can't challenge yourself with opposing viewpoints. And that's just so destructive.
Yeah, it leads to groupthink, and if you have
my
groupthink,
goodness.
then you don't you think about we grow as a civilization because of ideas. Ideas get thrown in the mix, and some ideas, which are some of the greatest ideas of history, were rapidly opposed for a long time, and then all of a sudden, 8 people come around, they start to understand. Right? The logic behind it or the thinking behind it. Hey everyone, thank you so much for checking out this clip from the Practical Theism podcast. If you enjoyed this clip and you want to check out the full episode, you can do so by finding it on our YouTube channel. Definitely consider subscribing and ringing that little bell so you can continue to get updates, notifications when we release new episodes and new clips just like this one. I hope to see you soon.